Um, I just want to start by saying that I am no expert on Sumerian and Mesopotamian culture and history. However, I am well versed in the study of herbs and spices, and I'm also a very good cook. So I did do some work, some research in preparation for this workshop in order to prepare so that I could focus it specifically on Sumerian and Mesopotamian cooking and herbs and spices. Um, Basically, people have been using herbs and spices for as long as people have been on this planet. Uh, in my research, I saw an article that said something about how they started using herbs and spices when they started civilization. However, we evolved from the hunter gatherers, and the hunter gatherers ate whatever they could find that was edible, of course. And that included a lot of herbs and spices. So, what was happening while the hunter gatherers were foraging for their herbs and spices or for their food is that they were getting these incredible nutritional and medicinal properties from the various plants that they ate. Eventually, they began to realize that many of these plants went well with other foods, with different meats or uh, root vegetables or whatever they were preparing. So then, as people began to live in civilizations, as they settled into more settled communities and started to, build, they began to domesticate animals and they started farming, and there were certain foods that they ate on a regular basis because they were growing things and cultivating things around their homes now. They still continued to eat various fruits, nuts, vegetables, plants, mushrooms from around the area. They did not stop foraging and they did not stop hunting. They continued to do so. So they used whatever they could that was seasonal, of course. Now, in Sumerian and Mesopotamian culture, they ate a lot of some of the a lot of very specific types of foods because this is what they were growing, this is what they were raising, this is what they were cultivating. And what I discovered in my research is that they ate a lot of meat. They had goats and sheep specifically. There were other animals, but goats and sheep were prominent. Um, Also, they used the animals to create milk and yogurt and cheese. So they ate a lot of different dairy products, and they included those dairy products with their food. They ate a lot of barley, wheat, millet, oats, lentils, chickpeas, leeks, cucumbers, beets, turnips, onions, garlic, desert truffles, dates, figs, pomegranates, and as I said, cheese and yogurt. And this was interesting. What I discovered in my research is they drank beer, and they also used their beer in their cooking. And another thing I found out as I was studying beer, because you always hear about the evils of alcohol, until recently, I guess in the past 20 years, we've heard a lot about red wine and the health benefits of red wine. But beer actually has a lot of health benefits, and I'll be talking a little bit about that. I was actually surprised when I came across the information. So that was really interesting. One of the reasons that a lot of ancient civilizations drank beer, wine, or other alcoholic beverages was because the water system was not that good, and there was often bacteria in the water, so they needed the alcohol to kill the bacteria. Um, so um, their recipes have actually, many of their recipes have been saved on their clay tablets that they left behind. and the recipes were recorded in the cuneiform on the clay tablets. So that's another interesting thing, that they actually did record some of the recipes. However, a lot of the recipes are not real specific as in terms of quantities. They don't say 1 cup of this or half a cup of that or a teaspoon of this or a tablespoon of that. It's just more like boil the water, add the sheep fat, throw in the herbs and vegetables, throw in the meat, cook until the sauce is reduced, and then put it in a bowl and sprinkle it with cilantro. So that's what their recipes were like. Now, if you know about cooking and you've been cooking for a long time and you have an understanding of how foods are prepared, a stew or whatever, then you can have some sense of how to do that yourself. So all you have to do is look at the ingredients and then try to figure it out, how much of what would go good with that particular dish. So a lot of plants. I've been doing a lot of research on a lot of different plants, herbs, even mushrooms, and it's amazing the health benefits that all these foods have, not just nutrition, but medicinal benefits as well. So it's important to have a wide variety of foods in your diet. Like I was saying before, that the hunter-gatherers were eating all kinds of foods from all over the place. And even when people first came into civilization, they were still eating foods outside of the area where they were settled. So as I was saying, it's really important to have this wide variety of foods in your diet, because that's how we evolved. And one of the issues I see is with the modern American diet is a lot of people are eating the same things over and over again, and that can be a problem. So I was a vegetarian for 17 years, and I was eating a lot of wheat and dairy, and I developed a high sensitivity to wheat and dairy. So I had to cut wheat and dairy out of my diet for a while and then slowly reintroduce it, and then eat it in modest quantities, because I find that if I eat too much of it, I don't feel good. So what makes you feel good is eating a wide variety of foods and having a lot of different types of foods in your diet. And, it's not just the vitamins and the minerals, but there's a lot of micronutrients in all these things. There's a lot of phytochemicals in the plants, for example. So that's important to have those foods in your diet. So one of the clay tablets, or some of the clay tablets in ancient Sumerian and Mesopotamian culture, they actually recorded medicinal plant usage. And they had over 250 various plants listed on the clay tablets. So there is not much of a limit to what's out there and what's available to us. So don't limit yourself. And some of the herbs and spices that they used were anise, cardamom, cilantro or coriander. Cilantro and coriander are actually the same plant, the same spice or herb. Cilantro is the green herb, whereas coriander is the seed of the plant. They ate cumin, and it's pronounced cumin, not cumin. So I think some people want to pronounce it cumin, but it's pronounced cumin, like come in. They also ate dill, garlic, leek, mint, onion, saffron, thyme, and turmeric. So these are all wonderful herbs and spices that I use on a regular basis. not anise so much, because anise has this strong kind of licoricey flavor that's more particular to certain confections and, you know, certain dishes where you want that really strong flavor. I don't use saffron at all in my cooking because saffron is really expensive. I was looking at saffron recently in one of the stores, and wow, just for this tiny little bit of saffron, like $30. So one of the substitutes actually that you can use for saffron, if a particular dish calls for saffron, is turmeric. A little bit of turmeric can substitute. It adds that color and a little bit of that type of flavor. So are there any questions at this point?
Apparently I muted myself.
Hi, can I just,
Go ahead.
can I just ask, I'm a vegan. Do you think I would have survived in Sumer? Had a lot of lentils and chickpeas, didn't they?
Yes, they ate a lot of chickpeas.
And lentils.
Lentils, yes. Oh, lentils are so good for you. And
Yeah.
delicious.
I think you would be able to survive on a Sumerian diet with lentils and chickpeas and vegetables. Sounds okay.
Yes.
I had just wondered if curry made it there yet. And I was also wondering about salt or pepper.
Oh yeah, they definitely use salt. However, you know, I was wondering about pepper myself. I actually didn't see it listed. I looked at several different sources, but I didn't see pepper listed. That doesn't mean they didn't use it. But as I said, I couldn't find it in my research. One would have to do further research to find out whether they use some sort of pepper.
Did they have hot peppers?
I didn't see that either. I didn't see hot peppers. So I don't know. Couldn't tell you at this point.
So I guess then I don't think they made curry powder, but because curry powder is a mixture of stuff, but a lot of the spices you're mentioning would go into curry powder, but you would need like chilies or hot pepper too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think that even India had hot pepper before the Americas, before the colonization of the Americas, because I think all the peppers come from America.
You're right about that. Yeah.
And then they went to India and were very much adopted there. But yeah, I don't think that they would have had, I don't think we have a native hot pepper, you know, not one of those red or green hot peppers.
But you know,
in Europe, when I say native, I'm speaking about Europe and Asia.
Lindsay lives in England.
Yeah.
However, there are some types of what are called peppers that are from Asia. There's pink pepper and there is Sichuan pepper. They're not in the actual pepper family as, you know, the red peppers, but they have a peppery type of flavor. So there are different types of plants that have peppery kinds of flavors. So I don't know if they use them in Sumeria and Mesopotamia.
They did trade with India. They traded with the Indus Valley civilization. So I don't know, but I don't know what the Indus Valley civilization were eating at that point.
Okay, so one of the things I had mentioned was that they eat desert truffles. What is a desert truffle? Actually, it's a type of mushroom or fungus. And you may have heard of truffles and truffle hunting in Europe, where they use the pig and they go into the forest and the pig sniffs out the truffles from the ground. The truffles, they grow in the ground. They don't grow on top of the ground like most mushrooms and different types of fungus. They grow on trees, on logs, or coming up out of the ground. but some funguses grow underneath the ground, and that would be the truffle. And truffles are highly prized and used in gourmet foods, and so are the desert truffles. Another thing I did was I researched desert truffles because I have a really strong interest in mushrooms and learning about mushrooms. And I was looking at whether or not you could actually purchase desert truffles, and you can purchase them online. However, they are very expensive. They're not cheap, but they're less expensive than the European truffles. So if anyone is interested in trying truffles, and I don't have the pocketbook for that right now myself, maybe someday. So the Latin name, I think it's Latin, I'm not sure. Usually a mushroom or a plant has what's known as a genus name or a family name. So that's the first name of the plant or the mushroom. And then there's a second name that goes with it, that is the species name. But all I could come up with was this one name, and I can't even pronounce this. It's Terfeziaceae, Terfeziaceae, Terfeziaceae. And I tried to look up the pronunciation online, but I couldn't find it. So these particular desert truffles are found in the Mediterranean region, North Africa, and the Middle East. Now, modern Iraqis, who they say are the descendants of the Sumerians, they call the desert truffle kama or kima, kama or kima. And one of the things I also tried to do was look up the nutritional value of desert truffles as well as the medicinal value of desert truffles. And I had a hard time locating that type of information. I find it's much easier to get information about different plants and mushrooms from other parts of the world. For some reason, I think the Middle East isn't as much invested in scientific research as other parts of the world. But the only thing I could come up with was that desert truffles are very high in amino acids, so they contain a lot of protein. So if there's any vegans or vegetarians out there, desert truffles are a good source of protein. So I had mentioned that one of the things that the Sumerians and Mesopotamians ate was barley. I've got a jar of barley, probably can't even see it too well here. I love barley. It's so delicious. So barley is not only delicious, but it's extremely nutritious, and it has a lot of medicinal properties. It's high in vitamin A and calcium and magnesium and phosphorus, potassium, and selenium. And I want you to know that selenium is very important for immune health. It boosts your immune system. So a lot of people are interested in boosting their immune system right now. Naturally, we should be boosting our immune systems all the time, but selenium can help you to do that. It can help you to feel better and to keep your immune system healthy. So barley is also very high in fiber. It lowers blood cholesterol, it lowers blood sugar levels, and it improves your digestive health. I'm going to drink a little water. Water is very good for you also. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the health benefits of beer. As I said earlier, I was a little surprised to find out how healthy beer can be for you, in moderation, of course. If you sit down over the weekend and drink a case of beer, well, maybe not so much. Okay, so beer is made from barley, and I'm talking about good beer. So if you were to drink beer for its health benefits, you want to use a good quality beer, not a cheap beer. So a lot of these cheap beers are actually made from rice, and it doesn't have the same nutritional and medicinal value that a barley beer would have. So beer is high in phosphorus and potassium, and this was based on scientific research. It lowers rates of cardiovascular disease. It helps prevent kidney stones. It strengthens the bones, and it can help aid relaxation and reduce stress. So as I said, in moderation, small quantities of beer can be good for you. And it can be tasty in certain dishes like the Mesopotamians and Sumerians made. So are there any other questions or certain types of feedback that anyone would like to offer right now?
I'm interested in whether the Sumerian beer was of a lower alcoholic content.
Yeah, probably.
Because otherwise, if they're drinking it as water,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because water isn't safe,
Mm-hmm.
they would be reeling about with the amount of water you have to drink to hydrate. So do you know anything about that, about how alcoholic it was?
I really don't. I really don't.
I know when I was in France, they would water the wine down during
Yeah.
the daytime meals. People would still drink wine at lunchtime, but it would be like a little bit of wine and water. So they may have done something like that. I have a
That would give them the water problem, though, the you know, infections in the water. So I'm thinking they maybe made it less strong alcohol.
maybe some Mercy writes, I brewed some once following a reconstructed recipe and it came out at barely 2%. So that supports what you're saying, Lindsay. I don't know that this really has a connection, but there's in the Illusion Mysteries from Greece, people would be given kykion, which is a barley water drink.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some scholarship around the idea that the barley had some kind of like fermentation or some kind of maybe even a fungus on it that made it slightly hallucinogenic. And so it would cause like
That was ergot.
Yeah.
Which is quite dangerous. I mean, it's like, yeah, they used to use it, and if it's in a very small amount, it's hallucinatory, but it can be very dangerous. So yeah, that's what I don't know if the Sumerians used ergot like that. So it's an interesting question. It really raises an interesting question.
Yes, LSD is synthesized from ergot.
What's synthesized from ergot?
LSD?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I just wanted to share that my ancestry is 75% Bohemian from the Prague area of Czechoslovakia. And one tradition we had on Christmas Eve, you know, we were Catholic, and we had it with no meat. We had to eat fish, usually haddock, with a barley meal called guba. And it was barley and dried mushrooms and onions. And we hated it as a kid, you know, but we had to eat at least one bite of the fish and guba before we could open a Christmas present. But the guba now, I love it. I love barley. And I had one question. I just wondered if the Mesopotamians, like the Greeks and Romans, ever did mead or a honey beer.
That could be possible. In my research, I didn't come across it, and I wasn't specifically looking for any type of a honey beverage. So that would be something interesting to investigate. One of the things I did think about when we were talking and discussing this topic is the topic of fermented foods and fermented beverages. If it's done correctly, it actually has a lot of friendly bacteria, friendly flora in it, which is good for gut health, for digestive health, and also not just digestive health, but your gut influences the rest of your body. And there is research that has been done recently that claims that good gut health is good for your brain as well. It helps with brain functioning, and it also can help with issues like depression and anxiety, and help to alleviate the symptoms of depression and anxiety. So take good care of your guts and make sure you get fermented foods in your diet. And I'm sure that Sumerian, I'm not positive, of course, but I'll bet that Sumerians and Mesopotamians had different types of fermented foods. And that would be another thing to look into. And I think that would be really interesting. So is there anything else anyone wants to add before I get on to the actual recipe that I'm going to demonstrate?
I just have to ask with the fermented food if they had cabbage and if they may have made sauerkraut.
I don't know if they had cabbage, but they had turnips, and you can definitely ferment turnips. They had leeks, onions, garlic. Those are all things that can be fermented. I've never had, well, actually, I think you can ferment beans. So they ate different types of beans, and you could probably ferment lentils and chickpeas.
Sure, you can ferment any vegetable matter. The problem with fermenting, and I have like a hobby of fermenting things, and if it's really hot, it's really hard to control the fermentation, and you easily get mold and other stuff in your, so I would guess that might be a problem for them because of their climate.
Makes sense, yeah.
About cabbage, they definitely had the family because lettuce is part of the family, and lettuce is in the poetry. I mean, you know, Demuzi is compared to lettuce springing up in an erotic poem. So they definitely had lettuce, and cabbage is a relative of it, I think. It's the cruciform plant, yeah?
No, I believe cabbage is more a relative of cauliflower and broccoli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I thought they were all part of one bigger family, the crucifers, with lettuce as well. You're absolutely right. It's much more closely related to cauliflower and broccoli. Anyway, it's a bit of a, I'm not going to argue about it too much.
So there was this one recipe that I had created, and I was thinking about trying to demonstrate it, but it's too difficult to do in this format. It was a mushroom barley soup that I created. And of course, I couldn't use the desert truffles, but I used regular button mushrooms in the soup. And it turned out really delicious. And what I did was I put the recipe for the mushroom barley soup on the handout. So if you want to get the handout, Mara said where to get it, and you can get those handouts. Also on that handout, there is a list of some of the various herbs and spices that the Mesopotamians and Sumerians used. And on that list are some of the nutritional values of those various herbs and spices, as well as some of the medicinal values. And personally, I find that incredibly interesting when you discover not just the nutritional values, but the medicinal values and what they can do for your body, and not just your body, but your mental health as well. So on that note, what I am going to do is create a date ball, a Mesopotamian date ball. So the ingredients are really pretty simple. Some pitted dates. If you can see that. some pitted dates, shelled pistachios. You can use crushed pistachios if you want, but I'm using the whole nut in this particular recipe. I have cardamom seeds. You can use cardamom seeds or powder, barley flour, and optional is yogurt or kefir. And I use a goat yogurt or kefir. So let me put my paperwork aside here. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is that all three of these things, dates, pistachios, and cardamom, have amazing nutritional and medicinal values. Dates are high in vitamin A, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. They are also high in antioxidants. They lower blood cholesterol and they promote healthy digestion. And then pistachios are high in A, C, E, and K. And K is so very important for your blood health, and it helps coagulate your blood. Pistachios are rich in calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, and selenium. So if you want to boost your immune system and give your immune system some good health, eat pistachio nuts, because zinc and selenium are really good for immune health and immune boosting. And then cardamom is high in vitamin C, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. It is antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It soothes the digestive tract. It alleviates respiratory issues, and it lowers your blood sugar. So I have a bowl of pitted dates and a bowl of shelled pistachio nuts. Hope I don't spill these as I'm trying to show them here. And a bowl of cardamom seeds. I like the cardamom seeds because they add a nice crunchy texture to the date ball. But if the crunchiness is not your thing, you can use powdered cardamom. Just shake a little on. So what else do I have? I also have barley flour. I like Bob's Red Mill. They produce a lot of good stuff. And I have the barley flour in a bowl here. So what we do is we start with a
Connie,
date.
can you lift your barley flour up a little higher? All we saw was the bowl.
Oh,
The-
that bowl. Okay. I didn't want to spill it out.
Okay, well, that's pretty white on white, so no problem.
Okay. Okay, so you take a date and then you start smashing it up, and you want to smash it into a ball. All right. And then you take a pistachio nut, a whole pistachio nut, and put it into the opening in the date, and then close the date up around the nut. Then you take the date and gently roll it around in the cardamom. So now you've got all these cardamom seeds sticking to your date ball. As I said, you can use powdered cardamom if you want, and then just roll the ball around in the powdered cardamom. Now, the next thing you do, you got your bowl of barley flour, and then just gently roll it around in the barley flour. So you just cover it up. And there you have it. There's your date ball. The
Wow,
next,
that's super easy.
it is.
So with the cardamom seeds, they come as like seed pods when you buy them, like at the health food store. Do you then like crush them to get the seeds out, or how do you get the seeds?
Well, I've never used the actual pods to make something like this. People often put the whole pod in with rice or some other dish to flavor that dish. You can actually eat the cooked pod. It's incredibly delicious, and it's such this burst of flavor. Oh my gosh. But I actually bought a package of here I'm gonna I don't know if you can see this.
Maybe put them in your hand and hold your hand up to the camera. You know, put it in the palm of your hand. Two of
See,
them.
where's my
Yeah.
camera? Oh, so,
Don't move your hand, just hold it still. Yeah. Thank you.
so I bought it already with the seeds taken out of the pod. So you can get it at any Indian store. The Indian stores have tons of spices, a whole aisle of amazing spices and whole spices and powdered spices and ooh. So now I put the date ball in a bowl here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of goat kefir. As I said, you can also use yogurt if you want. This is optional, of course. You don't have to use it if you're vegan or vegetarian, or you can use a vegan or vegetarian, a vegan, what's the word, substitute. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to just pour a little bit of this on here.
A little bit higher, Connie. Hold the bowl up a little higher. Not the, yeah.
All right. Mmm. And there you have it.
That looks delicious.
Should have put a napkin in here. Oh, here we go.
That's really cool. I got to try that. That it is easy and it looks good.
And it's a super food too. It's just packed with nutrition.
Cool. And I definitely am going to try that mushroom barley soup though.
Awesome.
I read the recipe. That looks really good.
Yeah, it came out really well.
Mm.
Next in-person business meeting.
Ooh, that would be cool. I could do that.
Yep.
Make a big pot of it. Yeah, I like that idea.
Hey, that could be our magic.
just-
Stone soup, barley soup.
Yeah, and the dates.
Yeah, right.
Bring your date.
I just want to thank you so much for that. I took a lot of detailed notes. I'm going to make the date balls for Thanksgiving, in which I'm coming back up to visit Rusty and Chelsea for. Thank you so much. Blessed be. Namaste.
Hey,
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. This was fun.
It was really brilliant information. I loved having it, and it really fills things out for me about Sumerian life. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
You know, honestly, I don't like to cook, but that's worth doing.
And Hidu Anana was suggesting that you could also use shredded coconut instead of the barley flour, which did they have coconuts?
I don't think so. Isn't that a tropical plant? I'm not sure if they had coconuts in that area or if they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I've never had them with the yogurt before. That's like if I go to the store and I buy it, you can get them rolled and then it's usually rolled in the coconut, but
Yeah.
I want to try it with the yogurt or the kefir. It sounds really good.
Well, you've given me a real idea, because at the start of lockdown in this country, I had some volunteers shopping for me, and I asked for buckwheat, which I eat quite a lot of, like kasha, yeah? And they hadn't really heard of it, and they brought me buckwheat flour, and buckwheat flakes, not flour. And I haven't really known what to do with them. So they're just sitting there waiting for me to find something. But I think it might work in one of those recipes, actually, with dates, maybe. Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
also use oat flour. The ancient Sumerians and Mesopotamians used oats. And I had actually originally was looking for oat flour in the store. They didn't have it. All they had was the barley flour, which was actually better because I think they ate more barley than oats anyway. So
I mean, they didn't eat buckwheat. I'm sure it's Middle European, but it it might be a good way for me to use this up. So I'm going to get some dates now.
Buckwheat definitely has a very strong flavor, so
Yeah,
using.
I don't know if it does in the flakes. I'm not sure. I got to look at that.
I think I got buckwheat flakes once by accident, and I tried to make it into breakfast cereal, and it was not edible.
Why I didn't like it is when you put water on it, it goes gloopy, and I'm a person who hates porridge and anything that does gloop. So it's the gluten in it. No, I'm not gluten free, but I don't like that sort of stringiness. So, but it might be all right with dates though, because it would stay drier.
Yeah, definitely. Connie, thank you so much. That was fantastic, and I'm so glad that we could do it on Zoom, and that you were brave and tried out the new technology, because I think it was so great to have the interchange and all the comments and questions. And a lot of people are saying thank you in the chat, so that's just so
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. You also look very beautiful in front of your gorgeous background. And that's a visual treat for us, you and the background.
all right.
Okay. One of the comments was, it was awesomely interactive. I wish we could have sampled it.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking when I was preparing for this, how much I miss, you know, being with people and the wonderful energy of being in the room with the people. And, you know, it took me years to get used to speaking with people and in front of people. And I'm thinking, oh, now I have to do it online. And this now.
I think we were all feeling that.
Well, you did great. So I think you've mastered it in one try.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. But you've done some Facebook Live stuff before, I think.
A little bit, yeah. Not a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. We all start somewhere. All right. Any last questions for Connie before we take a little bit of a break before our mythic gods and ancient aliens talk with Hercules? I know he's on the line, so we'll do a sound check with him. Anything else anyone wants to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if the recipes could be written and posted.
They are on the website. Thanks
Oh, good.
for asking, Deirdre. I believe it's all on the handout. So if you go to the Ishtar Fest page on our handsofchange.org handout, losing my words, to that page, you can, under Sunday at 11:30 a.m., which was when this started, there's a red thing that says handout, and if you click on that, you'll get the.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait to try those.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So thank you so much, Connie. I think that was it on the questions. So thank you so much, and feel free to stick around if you have time, or if you have to get going, we understand. And Evergreen Rights, it was really nice to meet Connie, a face to the beginning of.
Well, we always hear about how it all started and where it started, and now I see where.
Connie's been to a bunch of our pagan picnics, but we may have been a little quiet about who exactly she was.
Yes, I guess you were, because I've never met her.
But our mistake, we should have been trumpeting that. So thank you for that. All right, guys, I think we're going to take a 10-minute break, bio break. So feel free to go grab yourself something to hydrate or whatever you need to do, and we'll meet you back at 12:30. And
And
Hercules,
can you hear me? I believe the sound is working today. Yes.
I can hear and see you.
Awesome.
So we mastered that. Fantastic. How
And
are
then
you?
my puppy decided to join us, so occasionally she might pop up and lick my nose or do something. But
Nice. Awesome. I'm
the
sure that,
alternative is barking. So
okay, yeah, well, barking will be harder.
yes.
So
Blessing of Gula and Bao.
right. So there's a Sumerian goddess Gula, who's the goddess of healing,
Oh, okay.
and she is associated with dogs.
The Sumerian or ancient Near Eastern Hercules Melkart, as he was known in Tyre, he also had a whole bunch of mythology with his dog, and their discovery of Tyrian purple, the dye of royalty. So I found an old painting of that, and it looks like me and it looks like Sophia, so I put it up every now and then on Facebook.
Sophia's your dog?
Yes, Theosophia, her full name, but Sophia or Sophie for short.
Nice. I'm gonna walk away for a couple minutes. I'll be
Sure. Okay, and I'll post on Facebook.
all right. Sounds good. Hi, I'm back.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Um, so how did, I know you had an event yesterday at the store in Sussex County.
Yes, the Amber Dragon. It went pretty good. We had some of our regulars there. We were practicing social distancing, so there's only so many people that could be there, but it was more full than usual because it's been a while since we did something live,
Sure.
and not everybody wants to do Zoom, so that wasn't an option. So it was good. We laid the foundation for the year ahead, and we're going to be revisiting some of the things we did in the past few years. But now I'm tying them all together. Before there were a bunch of like random mini topics that extended for a few months, or so it's all going to tie together. And even though each session is standalone, so you can get what you want out of that session, uh, together synergistically they create a worldview that will be really helpful as a foundation to build on. And then if somebody misses some of it, we'll know exactly what they missed. So they, next time we offer it, they can take those as well. So I'm pretty excited. It took like 3 years to actually accomplish that, painlessly. So
So truly a Herculean task.
yes.
Sorry.
How about with you? How's the Ishtar Fest coming along?
I think it's going really well. We've had a couple of technical, hiccups, but I think that's to be expected. My sense is that people are enjoying it. People keep coming back. I'm seeing a
That's
lot
good.
of people, so that's good. And I know people are watching it on Facebook Live also, but we don't know how many that is yet because we haven't looked at the analytics.
Yeah, I have
Melvin
to figure
writes, loving it in the. Thank you, Melvin.
out. I have to figure out how to do. That's my next thing. I need to. I've been on Zoom a lot. I've hosted, like co-hosted with somebody else doing the engineering on Zoom. Haven't tied it to Facebook yet, but that's where I'm moving also because we don't know how long this pandemic will last. And
Well, that's the thing, So we're we got to plan for the long run and hope that we're wrong.
yes, most certainly so.
Yes.
I just wanted to say I really enjoyed your previous presentation, so I'm very much looking forward to this one as well.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very disjointed, but today it'll be more sequential and the sound works and everything, and I could see people. So, but thank you very much. I'll be repeating some of the stuff too and putting it in a greater context. And this is something else that I've been working on launching. So, to invite people in rather than just my talking about it or writing about it. So it's going to be the next like adventure that we're going to be going on for the next few years or so.
Awesome. Hercules, well, actually, I should probably ask that after we're sure everybody's on. So I'll do that towards the end. So we just have a couple more minutes till 12:30. I want to make sure people get here who want to get here before I introduce you.
Sure, no problem. And you can ask me the question